Hatap Yasar. Welcome to another Outformation class. Anuki, Mersotat, Nisutat, Nedawa, Nafertat, Atumreye, Wu.
Anuki Mersal Nasut, Pata, Kafreye, Hepetreye, Atumreye.
We will be teaching tonight's Outformation class given to us by Pa Nabab Yanun, Pa Sadat Karar Nun. For without him, none of this would have been possible. The title of tonight's class is Sex, Minds, and Slaves. Lo Nuwapu, let these facts be your guidance in this life. You came to the end of the cycle of their ghost, God, year 2000 AD, which was 6,000 years from 4000 BCE. At the end of the cycle of ghosts, that is the end of the cycle of their religions, God, Allah, Yah, Yahweh. The ghosts or spirits who incarnated from other star systems, and the unknowing people called them supreme beings. And those ghost people in person of the Caucasoid race of Celtics. The ghost people, yet they keep the great letter G a secret. Their original Wiccan religion became Gnostics, keepers of the outward knowledge, which became Grotto, the veiled doctrine in mystic order.
Wrong back. As Muhammad said, Panabab Yanun has expounded upon the ghost force, or what we refer to, or what they refer to as their deities or their gods. And they have kept their God a great secret. They have taken this information from our ancient ancestors. It is all found in symbolism to hide a great secret, to hide the secret that you are the deities. As we know, all signs and symbols come from our ancient land, Tamaray, or as they refer to it as ancient Egypt. We know in some of the secret orders that we start out existence or creation with a point or a dot in the circle. Well, who knew the origin of the point or the dot in the circle? Was it the Caucasoids of the last 6,000 year cycle? How could it be them when they didn't exist to even write? So when you see these signs and these symbols, they cover up a great secret. They took these signs and symbols from our ancient culture. As they took these signs and symbols from our ancient culture, they knew not what they were doing. They knew not this true symbolism behind the circle and the square, or the true facts behind the circle and the square. They knew not the great circle of the nine, known to us as the Enads. They knew not how to even draw a circle or to print. As you look at these symbols and you see the fraternal orders that exist today in America and around the world, you may ask yourself, is this Egyptian ontology or mythology? Well, let me tell you. Panabab Yanun said that it all came from our ancient hidden secrets, our ancient symbolism that we kept amongst ourselves in our secret and sacred orders. They took these signs and symbols, they took these numbers and these letters, these shapes and these forms, and they reformed them and repackaged them and watered them down and changed the facts into myths, changed the facts into stories, so that they could create a reality for themselves. If you go to the sacred records of Natir, Aferti Atumbre, referred to as the Black Book, it tells you about the hidden symbolism or the lie that they perpetrate about the letter G, the circle and the square, the compass. But we all know that we are the true holders of those secrets. The symbols that we wear do not allude to the G. Look at it close. The symbols that we wear do not allude to a common square or circle or compass or square. Look at it close. Only the originator knows where the circle begins and ends. You say you are only speaking in parables. You're not teaching us a class. Become a member of our ancient orders and know why it has took 6,000 years for this secret or these secrets to be brought to light in this day and time by none other than the Bab Yanun. So we see that it all alludes to ghosts, goblins, gas forces, death. So why would we wear that if we are non-ether beings? Because it does not mean the same thing. Maybe it is a protection. Protection for what? A protection for them or a protection for us? Let's see what Parnabab says about these symbols, about gamma, meaning 6, about G, meaning 6, about a square and a circle, about a letter G in the center. Is it a ghost force? Is it a sex force? Is it genitals? Is it goblins? Is it? I ask you. Let's see what the master says.
They keep the secrets from you in higher offices of their government. It's all about the ghosts, goblins, ghouls, genii, God. Big G, small g is the same G. The ghost race and their ghost god. Under many names, titles, attributes, tribal names, countries, nations, they are all the same. Their three, or trinity, for them is in man's kind religions, and are simply God, ghost, gene, 9 ether, 6 ether, and ghosts. The last stage of evolution is conscious gases. The basic 3 in African culture is all, the all is. Because these 3 existences comprise, constitute, and generate everything. Ghost, also called God or spirit, is the perfection of death, because 6 ether is death, which is why they bury them 6 feet under. 6 is death, and ghost is the cast stage of it, which means ghost is the apex, is the highest point of 6 ether. Ghost is conscious death gases.
So as we look to the left, we see ghost forces. Remember, before ghost was 9, before 6 was 9. You are the original. So how could they have a 6? How could we get to the last stage of evolution? This was their sign that they were at the end of their evolution. They took our original hidden meanings for Atum and Geb, our ancient stories of procreation, existence, and creation, mixed them up, changed the symbols, changed the characters, and gave them back to you. They look very, very similar.
similar, but not the same. So these ghost forces, we don't worship. These ghost forces have ended their time. So we, as 9 ether beings, realize how that 6 is not a 6, it's sex. And we know that 9 mind, or 9, is the motivator, is life, is reason, is thought. 6, sex, is death. They have not been able to rule us by repackaging our ancient and hidden symbols and giving them to us in secret societies. It took for one to come by the name of Pa Nabab Yanun to give us the true meanings of the signs and symbols that come from Zahuti, for he is the founder of what you see on the board, improperly represented today as what some refer to as the Masonic Order or the Eastern Star. He holds those secrets. He knows why the G is there. We, some of the brothers, know that it is not just a G. Look at it close. Look at it close.
Ghost is conscious death gases. Ghost is conscious gases that have no sun's rays, no heat genes left within its formula. It's bleaked out while in the womb between the 1st month and the 6th month. Thereby, it is born while in color transparent, as from carbon 6 or coal black to diamond white or transparent. And diamonds come in the colors of the prism and or rainbow, their subraces. And of course, white is the last stage of color as ghost, and its posterity, the Caucasoid race, are the last stage in evolution. 9 ether is the sun, the life source. Its birth, 9 month, is why they call it September from Sepzet, so this Sopdet Sept. Genesis chapter 2 verse 1. For Sirius, Sabatat, the dog star, reversed, the dog star, the heavenly host. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them.
So as you look to the left,
You see that all of this ancient symbolism was taken from our ancient culture, where it encompassed a cycle of 9,000 years, or a cycle of 9. They took the 9 and they reversed it and made it 6. They took our deities, our hidden symbolism, and created an illusion which they live in as a reality that they are ghost forces, and that no one will worship them anymore in the time cell that we are in unless they are fooled by the illusion of what you see before you. So you see 9 points, or what they refer to as points of light. Some of us have seen this symbol before at many places, some on low and some on high.
Nine ether produces the Nagaru, Negroid, or black race, Africans. And 9 ether is birth, life, and grower of these universes, out of multiverses of the all, or omniverse. Thereby is the prime mover, or original order. The Nagaru Negroid race is the personification of the original creators, Nadaru, called Tahites. 8 ether produced the Dravadu, Dravidians, brown skin with black fur in place of hair. This happened in the womb at the 8th month. 7 ether produced the Mangalu, Mongoloids, yellow skin with black thorns or hollow fur, This happened in the womb at the 7th month. 6 ether produced the caucasoid, transparent skin and colored fur, yellow, white, red. The colored man grafted wicked ones. This happened in the womb at the 6th month, when the Jawayu entered them. The personification of the original and the secondary creations. 6 ether is death, and the secondary creator they call Ra, evil, to replace Egyptian Safaf act hieroglyphs.
So they call Ra, the sun, the life force. They took it and reversed it and called it evil or death, where we know that the sun or the life force or ether is life for us and death for them. So all of the symbols, all of the signs they took and they reversed, and we gave them what they refer to as wisdom without commentary. We gave them information as they came into our land, and they gleaned what they could from it, but they had no knowledge. So by nature, they are contrary to their own existence. By nature, what you see as the original turned into secondary creation, or secondary, or second, even third forces as 1, 2, and 3. We see the 1, 2, and 3 known as 6, 6, 6, or 3 times 6 is 18, which we know the wisdom of that is a man of sin. So which man of sin created these ghost forces? We are not just men. We're not just women. We are actually the sons and daughters of Natharu.
6 ether is death, evil, and the secondary creation, Ra, Roy, whose creation is the changes in original creation called evolution. This is why in the book of Leviathan, or the Bible, there is 2 separate creations of sunlight. Genesis chapter 1, verses 14 through 16, and Genesis chapter 1, verses 3 through 5. Psalms chapter 136, verses 7 through 9. Ghosts produce the Caucasoid race by genetic crossbreeding to make a hybrid, and by a curse of leprosy. And ghost is the tertiary creator, called God or Gad in Canaanite tongue, whose posterity is the Caucasoid race, and whose creation is the change in pure, clean, healthy nature. He is a germ man, or Germatic race. And in the German tongue, 9 means no. No, not any, expresses a negative reply to question or request. Ghosts and the Caucasoid race are 3 in the sense that they exist on the circle as 666, 3 sixes, and they become grown at age 18, which is 6 plus 6 plus 6. As in according to King James Bible with Strong's Dictionary, Revelations 13:18. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Where you find their secret number, 666. The Celtic Caucasoid race is the moon cycle man, who was extracted or ghostized from the Dravidians of India as a result of disobedience to the laws and commandments of the sun god, according to Strong's Concordance, Psalms chapter 84, verse 11. For the Lord God is a sun and shield. The Lord will give grace and glory. No good thing will he withhold from them that walk uprightly. As their shields or seal show, there is no difference between what the Caucasoid's book of Leviathan, the Bible, and Quran calls Holy Ghost, and any other ghost. Ghost is the same in composition no matter where it is. Ghost is from the cave, the grave, the dead. The Negroid race is 9 ether in flesh and blood, and therefore is 9. The Caucasoid race is 6 ether in flesh and blood, and therefore is 6. Your abode is above. Their abode is below. So they greet you with hello, as children of the underworld, Hades, Sheol, hell. Their secret 3 is Bes, wielder of the trident, the pitchfork of the devil. Their religions reveal their secret symbols, as well as their secret orders, all under the golden circle, ring of fire. Women rule their race. The 3 Marys is a symbol of the 3 names. 1, Dana. 2, Danu. 3, Dawn Celtic. Wife of Bilai. The 3 Marys, wives of El, each called the Trinity of mother goddesses, Def Matres. In Arabia, the 3 is called Uzza, Alat, Manat. You find them in all their religions, also called in Celtic culture, Matrane. The Caucasoid race is by nature feminine. This is one reason why it is able to attract other races by natures as thoroughly as they do. Most all of them are bisexual, both males and females, and are ruled by sexual pleasures, as in the Garden of Delight, or Gan, Eden in their Bible. They live to lust and lust to live. They try to attract all other sub-races and sex, yet their males fear the Negroid males with their females. They know Caucasoid females are attracted to African males, so they will kill and castrate a Negroid male for even looking at their female, because of intercourse and birth between the two is their death as a race. Yet, even the Caucasoid males are attracted to Negroid males, and they wish to drink from the fountain of life eternal. So they show their love and attraction by making them sports idols. That's why they can watch them sweat, half dress, and play, and can sit around in groups with beer and chips and say, "That's my man. I love him." Become groupies to Negroid sports stars, but ignore Negroid female sports stars. They both love and are attracted to Mandingo, the black male. So they spellbound and fascinate with offers of lots of money, or moon-e. The Caucasoid is the moon man. Also in music and cinema, to make them equal, so they can get close in order to drink of their elixir of life, of the golden children. Under a spell of luster, they become lustful. Many Negroids become weak and given to them for stardomship, wealth, fame, and have sex with them. Spellbound Negroid males give up their soul to them for wealth and fame. What profit a man to gain wealth and fame and lose his soul? They become the living dead, a zombie used in necromancy. The power of the dead. They wear a big cross or star and crescent symbols on a church or mosque, and their graveyards are gardens of delight. The power of their dead, which that race used by nature to spellbound Negroids, keep them from both females break up the Nagaru Negroid family and threaten their women with death. The dogma of Caucasoid power of the dead is his various religions born out of Wiccanism, now under new titles: Abrahamism, Mosesism, the Torah, Jesusism, the Gospel, Muhammadism, the Quran. Each call their religion by the three females.
Before we go on and before we erase this ghost spell, we want to make sure that it's clear.
As you look at the signs and the symbols and you look at the letters, it all goes back to ontology, the study of numbers, the study of existence, the study of being. We were the first beings in existence. So all of the signs and symbols, all of the tones and frequencies came from us and our ancient culture. We spoke here in this realm 54,000 years ago. So when you see this word, for instance, or for example, you see it as matrone. Well, us that are not under the spell, we know the tones. That is Ma'at. So Ma'at was a great deity, or a net, or what they call a teacher, a great lady, a great one. So how could Ma'at turn into ghost forces? How could a matron in a sacred order turn into ghost forces? Unless they took your tones, they took your signs, and they took your symbols, and they changed the frequency and the vibration. They changed the order of things. They turned the 6 upside down. They took the illusion of the square and the circle as being two different things, but yet we know by the codes of nature, by science, we know that 360 degrees quantity, no matter how it looks, and 360 degrees are the same thing. So how can you take the original and turn it into an illusion? It is because they live in a world of illusion, but they cannot see the illusion. They symbolically use terms that they do not know the meaning of. For example, matron, letter G, 6, gamma, circle. I'm drawing numbers. I'm saying tones. If you do not know the original tone, the original symbol, the original frequency, you won't know the science of ontology. You will not know from whence you came. So you can be spellbound by these ghost forces. They can take your stuff, repackage it, give it back to you, and you will see an illusion. That's why we say, so what do you illude, my brother, my sister? Are you the illusion? Yes. You came from Ilium. You vibrated and lived in a frequency, in a realm that he could not comprehend. So he took what he saw and added words, different frequencies, different meanings, flipped it upside down, changed the colors, changed the shapes, changed the meanings. So now you are calling on, wearing, worshiping that which you do not know. So it is Panabab Yanun. It is Zahuti. He is the one that came with these original symbols. He was the one that we find in the actual fact. Not the illusion, not the story, not the myth. But we find in the actual fact. Is Egyptian ontology or mythology? We find that these crescents, these semicircles, these straight lines, worn on your head, worn on your crown, they allude, or as we say, they have a hidden meaning. A meaning that is only known by the children of the Natharu, passed on from father to son, mother to daughter in their DNA. And we're in the day and time where their time is up for their symbolism. Their stories are old and gone away. Now it is time for Nuwap of the Nuwapians.
Just to go back a little, where it's talking about the Caucasoid male being in love with the Nagaru male and loving the Nagaru male, and why they put so much money into sports. You have to look at it this way. There's so much money being poured into sports, very little being poured into education. The Nagaru who falls for the game loses his soul. He wears a big chain. Y'all see him. The chain is very shiny, or what they called or considered to be blinged out, representing their death, 6 ether forces, not realizing that this being, this Caucasoid male, wants you dead. Wants this black being dead, this Nagaru, Negroid dead, which is one of the reasons why there's so much violence, so much lust and luster on the television. If you all could just think back in the mid-1990s, I can't speak for the 80s too much because I was real young, and I can't speak for the 70s and the 60s, but I know in the 90s there was a lot of killing of young black men. And it was a lot of black on black crime. That was during the time where, what's the name of that movie? Menace to Society came out. You know, it had the who was in there? Ice Cube, Ice-T was in there. Boys in the Hood, Snoop Dogg. All of those movies, though, they portrayed those rappers as these extended hard gangsters who didn't care. They were killers. But outside of the movies, you know, they were just regular people. So you had these boys in these projects, in these urban areas who wanted to be like them, not knowing the reality behind it. So they went out and they would kill another brother, another Nagaru, another deity for stepping on their shoes, for looking at his girl the wrong way, or what have you. Not knowing that what they wanted this group of beings to mass kill each other. Because what they do is, they take their body, they bury it 6 feet under. And what they do, they go back to their graveyards, which is their garden of delight. That's their garden of delight. They have sex with those bodies, necromancy. They have sex with dead bodies, the black bodies. They want that elixir, that life force from those golden children. And then they in turn eat those same bodies. So that garden of delight is real. But a lot of people don't realize that. They sell their soul because of money. That little dollar is not worth your soul. It's not worth your life force. This is another reason why Pa Nabab Yanun, Pa Sadat Karanun is saying, when you transition, have your body cremated. It's very important. You cannot leave nothing for them to feed off of, because they will drain you of every ounce of divinity that is left.
Can you see the illusion? Did something happen in your DNA as the signs and symbols or the letters were connected to let you know that someone is lying to you? Someone holds a great secret. Well, lo, my children, as someone said, best kept secrets, best kept sacred. Now we know that the mother is God, goddess. the secret matrix right there before you, of which the brothers we protect, that sacred seed. Abrahamism, Mosesism, the Torah, Jesusism, the Gospel, Mohammedism, the Quran, each call their religion by the three females. In Hebrew, it's deen, for judgment or debt. In Greek, it's danion, or debt. It means judgment, debt. Debt as in owing someone money. Spellbinding faith, trust. Belief in them as your leader, your savior, your God, your Lord, your prophet. Angels that walk by faith, not by sight. Not by faith and ghosts, but by what you see, by facts. Blind faith, the doctrines of sleep or death, and the practice of vampirism. Fluid suckers, they drain your life right out of you. The Negroes who teach and preach today, they are a hangover from slavery, and they are a continued product of slavery, because he was first made by the Kakasu during slavery for the purpose of protecting the slave master. They converted the slave traders' religion, first it being the Arabians who used Zanzibar, and they converted the Negroids and put on a red fez on their head and called them Morenos, which became Moors, which means in Portuguese, Latin, Spanish, it means dark black, dark or black. And they call them Muslims. They would not give them a full Arabic name, but only they added titles like they, El, Al, Afindi, Shah. And the leaders, they all call their leaders Ali, because Ali founded the Shiite sect of Islam. And they wear black turbans and robes, as you see today in Iran or Persia. And most of the above titles that I just read, they were not Arabic, as the word Moorish, is not Arabic. The Africans who would not convert to the Arabian religion, or what they refer to as the Deen al-Islam, they called Zinj for Zanzibar or Negroes, from Portuguese, Latin, Spanish, all four black-skinned. They created a dialect called Kiswahili. It was made up of Bantu and Arabic, and they used this for the Arab slave trade way back as far as 3000 AD, from Africa to Arabia. Much later, we find that what we've been taught about the slave trade, it came much later with the Europeans and the Portuguese. That started their slave trade, and they called them the Africans, who they converted. They called them Islam, nigger or Niger. All called them the helpers, or the Moors, or the Ishmaelites, helpers of the helpers of the Euro slave traders. They even protected them in America under treaties. Yes, they even protected them in America under treaties. When they abused their own brothers and sisters from Arabia, these Muslims, then first, then second, the Christians and the Jews later. This is where Moorish comes from. It's not a noble title. Many of the converts are Moors mixed with the Asian Indians who came to America, from China to North America, and the Japanese to South America. These free Moorish slaves of Africa mixed in with the Indian tribes, and they lived with them, and they accepted their cultures and called themselves the Asiatic black man, or Aborigines. And they say I am not African. I'm not black. I'm not Nagaru. I'm not Negroid. They say that out of fear of the slave masters who would ignore their red fez, who would ignore or give them a pass as being Moorish, as being Masonic, because they followed their Masonic. They followed as their sons and their daughters to protect them. They wouldn't even sell them. They kept them to be the good niggas, to dress like them, not teach the truth, but teach the illusion, not the facts, not our story. So the Spaniards, the French, and the Arabs called it El Maghreb, or as we say, the sun sets in the west. Some refer to it as Morocco, the strange land, which was all originally African. But when Al-Islam spread from Africa to Spain and all the way to the French, the race mixing got worse. And the Moorish, who were Negroids, took Caucasian women and they took them into their harem. And they had mulatto mixed seeds, children you see to this very day in Morocco. It's also referred to or called the American president. Yes, the American president or American presidents at that time made treaties with Moroccan kings who were mixed, not pure. They were mixed, not pure Africans. For they fought for them. They protected the seacoast of the state of Virginia only. So the Moorish Africans who converted and helped the slave master now claim they're under the Moroccan treaties. They say that they're Muslim, yet they have nothing to show for it. For saying I'm Moorish, I'm Muslim, my name is Bey, Day, El, Al, Shah, Effendi, Pasha, or Ali. Still, they are not recognized by the United States of America or Morocco. Today, just years of promise of if we come together as a nation, we will be recognized someday. Their prophet, Noble Drew Ali, claimed to be an Indian and Moorish, a great man. Yet, they made them link to the very first slave masters of the Sud family in Arabia today, who work with the Euro-Americans and don't recognize the Moorish Americans here in America. All this other than African. All this other than our African culture, which you all who are Negroids by nature should know. Converting to Arabian religion, founded in 610 AD up to 632 AD in Arabia by Arabs for his own tribe of the Quraysh, who was named Ahmad bin Abdullah, later became the Prophet Mustafa Muhammad al-Amin, who wrote the Quran in his own dialect or tongue, in Arabic Quraysh dialect, which none of these Moors today can speak or read. They have their own little book called the Quran Circle 7, which the Muslim world does not recognize. All of this is by the religion of the Jewish Torah, the Christian Gospel, the Muslim Quran. None of them were Africans, nor were they sent to our race.
All bloodsuckers, vampirism, drained Africa of her wealth and enslaved us. Now Negroids dress up like the masters and preach and teach his religious lies, legends, spookisms, fear to stand up for self and kind as Africans. The Caucasoids and Arabs, the masters of slavery, have mentally still enslaved, preaching their faith in a spook god, Allah, or an image of the Caucasoid or Arab. Wake up, African people.
Let's get clarity on a part of our family known as the Moors. From the words upon the Bab Yanun, I only remove Moors because I don't wish for us as a real tribe to be mistaken for the Moorish Americans and the Islamism of Noble Drew Ali or others, like Brother Hakeem Bey and so many others who make all kinds of crazy claims since 1913 AD. And they got nothing done because it was just Negroes converted to Arab Islamism religion and claimed they're Moors. They didn't even look up the word in Latin or Roman. Morenos, blacks, meaning blacks or dark skin, and Negroes, meaning black or blackness. They don't even know where the word came from. And you can find it in Acts 13:1. You can go to the Greek from the Latin. But the fact is, the blacks in Morocco, who are Muslims, were slaves brought there. And the original Negroids there were not Muslims or Islamists, but they were animists, Nuwapians like us. Islamism is the slave masters of Arabia's disease in Africa. The Fez is from a place in Morocco called the Axe, El Faz, not with a Z. Fez, not with a Z, as in Fez. And most Moorish Americans don't even wear the Fez. They wear the tarbush from Turkey, but don't even know the difference in the height or the texture. So that is why. And when I stood up back in 2003 in court on their behalf, with a tarbush, not one of them came out to help. But now that they see we are on record, they ask, why did he remove the Moor? Well, we accept you. Come home. We accept you. Come home, brothers. Come home, Moors. So we welcome them now to get on our tribal roster. So let's make it clear. Panabab Yanun just gives facts. Sometimes truth hurts. But if you're family, if you bear witness to the truth, the spirit of truth, we greet you with open arms as brothers and sisters in the great work of freeing our master, our master. So I say again, we accept you. Come home now. So we welcome them now to get on our tribal roster. We don't care what their religion is. We are a government, a nation, not a religion or a cult. By the way, it's 1, Celtic, 2, Celtic, 3, Celtic. These are the kins or the kinsmen or the clans. 3 clans, 6, 3 times 6, 18, man of sin. Not my son may sin, but not a may son, but a may sin. Look at it again. Listen to the tone again. 6 kings, 6 kingsmen are kings. They're root tribes and they're King of Kings, Lord of Lords. You can find in Revelations, the 19th chapter, verse 16 through 19. They're beasts, Nanar, and the kings of the earth. 6 kings, Vikings. V1, kings, Vikings. They eat human flesh. Find them in Revelations, the 18th chapter. If only people knew the real truth of the religion of Abraham, who to Moors became Ibrahim, which is back to Ibrahim of the Mesopotamians Ur of Chaldea, as in Ninurta, son of Enlil, by his sister Ninhershag, the brother of Nanar, brighter one, the fire, the light, who is their Allah. So their deity is, as they put it in the Arabic dictionaries, Anar or Nanar of Ur. You can find that in Strong's 6144 and 6146. These are their watchers, as seen in the book of Enoch. They don't know why they call Allah the light or the heaven and the earth. They don't know why. You can find that in the Quran, chapter 5, verse 15, chapter 24, verse 35. It's back to light. Yes, back then all light was fire. That's why Arabic used the root word nar, fire, light. And Moses spoke with a burning bush. Muhammad received his message from a being, a bright light, a shiny one, a Gabor, Gibrael, who Muhammad claimed came to him in a cave as a brightened, glowing light in 610 AD. Then later in human form to sit and talk with him. Well, let's see. Go to Luke the 10th chapter, the 13th verse. Let's go to 2 Corinthians, the 11th chapter, the 14th verse. And Muhammad's companions did not recognize Jibrail, the Gabor of El, when he sat and talked with their prophet in Hebrews, the 13th chapter, the 2nd verse. So the converts to Arab Islamism don't even know what they worship, or whom, when they were sent to them with the Torah, the Gospel, and the Quran. But we do. We know the difference. None of the converts, their leaders, could read Arabic or Hebrew, so they are blind leading the blind. Yes, we are more, as in morenos, as in black skin. Yes, we are Neger, as in Negroes, as in black skin. No, we are not Moorish, as in Islamism of the religion of Arabia, from Ur of Chaldees, from Ibrahim the Zoroastrians. I hope this is clear. They must get on our list. Worry about their religious opinion later. After the good fight is won, as Yamasee Native Americans, the true owners of this part of the planet Earth, before Abraham, Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad, and their religions, we had our own culture of animism, ancestor acknowledgement, as well as nature respect for all living things.
Just wanted to read a brief excerpt from Patarak, All Expanding, verse 79. It says, "You make reality real in your own world of choice. And the moment you give that up by faith versus fact in those other beings from other worlds, you change your divine faith as a God being and become a devil being that is attempting to alter fate, and it is and will be." I read that to say that's what happened to those people who consider themselves to be Moors during the time of the slave trade. they converted from their natural animism way of life to this cockazoo religious fake lies. So what they did, they altered their fate. They altered the fate of us as well as their brothers and sisters. So I just wanted that to be known. We have the updates from this past weekend's visit. The sisters went to visit Baba. As we all know, that is not an easy feat to look Pa Nabab Yanun, Pa Sadat Kara Nun in the face and give him love, give him updates on his legal. So we want to give the sisters and everybody who goes to visit Pa Nabab Yanun, we want to give them a round of applause.
Sister Mother.
The woman is mathematics. Everything she deals with is mathematics. She cooks in the kitchen. It is all about measurements. However, she can cook without using the exact measurement. Now, when it comes to the cycles of reproduction, the first 4 months, or numbers 1 through 4, that is the total power of the feminine. Number 1 being totally feminine. Number 2 representing female but not as feminine. Number 3 representing bisexual females. Number 4 representing she-mo-sexual. Homo means male. So number 4 represents the she-mo-sexual. Hope y'all understand. The number 5 is neuter or neutral gender and the 5th element. From numbers 6 through 9, it represents the male gender. You look at our Nuwapic, number 6, and see that it represents the male gender. Women were the first to speak 54,000 years ago, and men began to speak 53,000 years ago. So women's throats were open first for speech, to use tones, to chant, sing, etc. Now those beings who are gatekeepers, called gay, when they speak, they are singing. They chant all the time, from the day they were born. When they walk, they dance. Now they are more sensitive in all ways, and they see colors more vividly than any single gender. Women see colors brighter, and men see things quicker. Yet people considered gay, male or female, are dual-natured. This is why they are the gatekeepers. Religion teaches you anti-African, anti-black. That's why they introduced it in the 1930s through Islam. That's why it was allowed to thrive like it did. One of Pa Nabab Yanun's favorite cinema is House of the Flying Daggers. He noticed that Asians now have different lobes because they are mixed up. You are becoming conscious, and you're now looking at different features in humanoids. I've been looking at y'all like that for years. Some have simian lines in their palms. What's a simian line? Monkey DNA. The different features mark who you really are. So according to that, you may think a certain way, different from others. Some people have bulb fingertips, reptilian DNA. White people chose light-skinned people to be leaders or in the public eye because light-skinned people, deep down inside, have an inner desire to be like them because of mixing with their genes. Look at Yahweh ben Yahweh, Ben Ami Carter, Huey P. Newton, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the head of the NAACP, etc. Nobody should be going to see the new Clint Eastwood movie because he supports the Republican Party, who don't support rights for indigenous tribes and don't patron any other celebrities that support the Republican Party, such as Nicki Minaj, who admitted she's a Republican voting for Mitt Romney in Lil Wayne's song called Mercy, the remix.
I'm a Republican voting for Mitt Romney.
The actress Janine Turner, the washed-up actor Scott Bayou, the movie and TV series creator of CSI, Jerry Bruckheimer, Vince McMahon of WWE and WrestleMania, Tina Sloan of the Guiding Light soap opera, Chuck Norris, comedian Jeff Foxworthy, if anyone's ever heard of him, singer Ted Nugent, singer Kid Rock, Donald Trump, Gene Simmons, actor, I said wrong. Oh, okay. That's right. Actor John Voight, model Cindy Crawford, porn star Jenna Jameson, president of Bolton Celtics, or the Bolton Celtics, and the New England Patriots, the owner of Orlando Magic basketball team, the owners of the Miami Dolphins, the New York Jets, and the Atlanta Falcons tackle ball teams.
Tackle ball teams. Whew.
Wow. Partner Bab Yanan is hilarious, but he don't like
Nothing
humans.
to do with a footy.
Only a cactus male and a cactus female can birth Caucasus children, because when mixed with African DNA, the Caucasus becomes mulatto. The Frankenstein race are transforming back into monsters. They were given from 1914 to 1970. Then they were given an extension of time of another 30 years. Things came to an end in the year 2000. They reached their peak in the 1950s. Now you see very strange looking people. Their very best scientists are trying to hide it. Botox injections, implants, rearranging their whole bodies. So the extraterrestrials enhance the TVs with high definition screens. Now you see just how ugly they are. The Frankenstein race, creatures. They must renew their genes. They have Hansen's disease. That's why they move so stiff, because of their brittle bones.
The Coptic language is Egyptian. Did you all see the article about Jesus and his wife? Everybody saw it? Well, has anyone proved that he existed? Has anybody? Well, they said he didn't have a wife, and now he had a wife and children. They keep the same character, yet they keep changing the story. And every year, they have to keep Jesus' image or his name in your minds. Usually when it gets close to the holidays, so they can boost sales. There were many men with the name Jesus, and that would not have been his name anyway. They argue over things like this. Is Jesus black or is Jesus white? Instead of focusing on these things or these characters or what these characters did in the story, if they really existed, what did they do? How can their existence be proved? Where is Jesus' bones? They found Lucy, Egyptian pharaohs in tombs. Where are those from the Bible? By arguing over them, they are making it real. The devil has to keep us from uniting and becoming one, because you are the beings linked to the sun. The devil, say it again, the devil has to keep us from uniting and becoming one, because you are linked to the sun. You were the creators of the 9 air pockets in space and beyond space. Each planet linked to the sun, and the planets are in proper rotation around the sun because the sun is drawn to you. You are the magnetic attraction that keeps the universe in fit form. If they were to remove you, then it would disrupt the natural balance of things in this universe, and all the planets would be drawn into the sun and cause a star holocaust. They are looking for mermaids and mermen. They eliminate many of them by tracking the dolphins who travel with the whales. They are afraid Dogon, which is a merman, will rise out of the waters. The Kakasu have learned how to speak to the dolphins because they have patterns that can be logged and deciphered. Lots of people are diving offshore trying to meet with mer beings, M-E-R, mer beings, and are coming back with positive results. As the earth changes, abstract creatures are multiplying because nature is turning towards the abstract. The war of the North against the South. It was a fight over our blood because of the hemoglobin. The Lycans, who were the Jawa'u, and the vampires, the Southerners, the Puritans. Abraham Lincoln, he discovered this, freed the slaves. It goes back to the War of the Roses between the two families, the Yorks and the Lancasters, who were homophiliacs, who would get slaves out of Africa to feed of their DNA. They can't feed off of us anymore because we are mixed as well. In 1966, Ronald Wilson Reagan established the Satanic Church. He gave them their charter, headed by Anton LaVey. Reagan and his wife, who is a witch, was using services of the psychic Jean Dixon. A whole ritual was done at the Dakota House, and Rosemary was Jacqueline Kennedy, gave birth to this child. Nanar has returned. The guardian of the child was Nixon, born in New York City on June 6, 1966. All the Kennedys were taught in London. In 1976, the child was honored and had a bar mitzvah. There was a ritual in Central Park, masked by the King Tut exhibit. The event was called the International Year of the Child. Not children, but the child. He even had a jacket. Read the little devil, symbolic, or read the little devil, symbolic of the Antichrist. 12 other children from different races around the world were brought over and were sacrificed on his behalf. JFK found out about his wife and was going to kill that baby, so he was assassinated, Thomas. Now, JFK was shot in the head from a theater while he was in the car by Lee Harvey Oswald. Abraham Lincoln was also shot in the head in a theater by John Wilkes Booth. The events surrounding their deaths are the same, only in reverse order. Check it out. They both had secretaries with the same name. America has gone back to American thinking to survive. The original ideas of America, that all are created equal and justice is for all, etc., because nobody is indigenous but you. You should fast on the day of the week you were born.
Tawu Kun.
They could create a reality for themselves. If you go to the sacred records of Natir, Aferti Atum Break, referred to as the Black Book, it tells you about the hidden symbolism or the lie that they perpetrate about the letter G, the circle and the square, the compass. But we all know that we are the true holders of those secrets. The symbols that we wear do not allude to the G. Look at it close. The symbols that we wear do not allude to a common square, or circle, or compass, or square. Look at it close. Only the originator knows where the circle begins and ends. You say you are only speaking in parables. You're not teaching us a class. Become a member of our ancient orders and know why it has took 6,000 years for this secret or these secrets to be brought to light in this day and time by none other than the Bab Yanun. So we see that it all alludes to ghosts, goblins, gas forces, death. So why would we wear that if we are non-ether beings? Because it does not mean the same thing. Maybe it is a protection. A protection for what? A protection for them or a protection for us? Let's see what Parnabab says about these symbols, about gamma, meaning 6, about G, meaning 6, about a square and a circle, about a letter G in the center. Is it a ghost force? Is it a sex force? Is it genitals? Is it goblins? Is it? I ask you. Let's see what the...
We don't worship. These ghost forces have ended their time. So we, as 9 ether beings, realize how that 6 is not a 6, it's sex. And we know that 9 mind or 9 is the motivator, it's life, it's reason, it's thought. 6, sex, is death. They have not been able to rule us by repackaging our ancient and hidden symbols and giving them to us in secret societies. It took for one to come by the name of Pa Nabab Yanun to give us the true meanings of the signs and symbols that come from Zahuti, for he is the founder of what you see on the board improperly represented today as what some refer to as the Masonic Order or the Eastern Star. He holds those secrets. He knows why the G is there. We, some of the brothers, know that it is not just a G. Look at it close. Look at it close.
Ghost is conscious death gases. Ghost is conscious gases that have no sun's rays, no heat genes left within its formula. It's bleaked out while in the womb between the 1st month and the 6th month. Thereby, it is born while in color transparent, as from carbon 6 or coal black to diamond white or transparent, and diamonds come in the colors of the prism and or rainbow, their subraces. And of course, white is the last stage of color as ghost, and its posterity, the Caucasoid race, are the last stage in evolution. 9 ether is the sun, the life source. Its birth, 9 months, is why they call it September from Sepzet, so this Sokdet Sept. Genesis chapter 2. Hatap Yasar. Welcome to another Outformation class. Anuki, Mersotat, Nisutat, Nedawa, Nafertat, Atumreye, Wu.
Anuki Mersal Nasut, Pata, Kafreye, Hepetreye, Atumreye.
We will be teaching tonight's Outformation class given to us by Pa Nabab Yanun, Pa Sadat Karar Nun. For without him, none of this would have been possible. The title of tonight's class is Sex, Minds, and Slaves. Lo Nuwapu, let these facts be your guidance in this life. You came to the end of the cycle of their ghost, God, year 2000 AD, which was 6,000 years from 4000 BCE. At the end of the cycle of ghosts, that is the end of the cycle of their religions, God, Allah, Yah, Yahweh. The ghosts or spirits who incarnated from other star systems, and the unknowing people called them supreme beings. And those ghost people in person of the Caucasoid race of Celtics, the ghost people, yet they keep the great letter G a secret. Their original Wiccan religion became Gnostics, keepers of the outward knowledge, which became Grotto, the veiled doctrine in mystic order.
Rahbat. As Muhammad said, Panabab Yanun has expounded upon the ghost force. Master says,
they keep the secrets from you in higher offices of their government. It's all about the ghosts, goblins, ghouls, genii, God. Big G, small g is the same G. The ghost race and their ghost god. Under many names, titles, attributes, tribal names, countries, nations, they are all the same. Their three, or trinity, for them is in man's kind religions, and are simply God, ghost, gene, 9 ether, 6 ether, and ghosts. The last stage of evolution is conscious gases. The basic three in African culture is all, the all is. Because these three existences comprise, constitute, and generate everything. Ghost, also called God or spirit, is the perfection of death, because 6 ether is death, which is why they bury them 6 feet under. 6 is death, and ghost is the cast stage of it, which means ghost is the apex, is the highest point of 6 ether. Ghost is conscious death gases.
So as we look to the left, we see ghost forces. Remember, before ghost was 9, before 6 was 9. You are the original. So how could they have a 6? How could we get to the last stage of evolution? This was their sign that they were at the end of their evolution. They took our original hidden meanings for Atum and Geb, our ancient stories of procreation, existence, and creation, mixed them up, changed the symbols, changed the characters, and gave them back to you. They look very, very similar, but not the same. So these ghost forces,
or what we refer to, or what they refer to as their deities or their gods, and they have kept their God a great secret. They have taken this information from our ancient ancestors. It is all found in symbolism to hide a great secret, to hide the secret that you are the deities. As we know, all signs and symbols come from our ancient land, Tamaray, or as they refer to it as ancient Egypt. We know in some of the secret orders that we start out existence or creation with a point or a dot in the circle. Well, who knew the origin of the point or the dot in the circle? Was it the Caucasoids of the last 6,000 year cycle? How could it be them when they didn't exist to even write? So when you see these signs and these symbols, they cover up a great secret. They took these signs and symbols from our ancient culture. As they took these signs and symbols from our ancient culture, they knew not what they were doing. They knew not this true symbolism behind the circle and the square, or the true facts behind the circle and the square. They knew not the great circle of the 9, known to us as the Enads. They knew not how to even draw a circle or to print. As you look at these symbols and you see the fraternal orders that exist today in America and around the world, you may ask yourself, is this Egyptian ontology or mythology? Well, let me tell you. Panabab Yanun said that it all came from our ancient hidden secrets, our ancient symbolism that we kept amongst ourselves in our secret and sacred orders. They took these signs and symbols. They took these numbers and these letters, these shapes and these forms, and they reformed them and repackaged them and watered them down and changed the facts into myths, changed the facts into stories, so that they